We've achieved a complete understanding of it all. We've sifted out many of the potential suspects, many of the people of interest, and where we are today is with a much smaller team focused on a small number of remaining critical lines of inquiry that we think are significant. If we didn't think they were significant, we wouldn't be carrying on, but we think they're significant. It's unusual to have a case like this where you're doing a missing person investigation where 10 years on, we still don't have definitive evidence about exactly what happened, and that's why we're open-minded. Even though people will be pessimistic about prospects, that's why we're open-minded, because we don't have definitive evidence on what happened to Madeleine. Another thing I would say though is these lines of inquiry we have today, they are a product of the information available at the time and the information that's come from public appeals. We've done 4 Crime Watch appeals. All media channels have been really helpful, including your own in that, and thousands of pieces of information come forward, some useful, some not, but amongst that have been some nuggets that have thrown some extra light on the original material that came from the time, and that's one of the things that's helped us make progress and have some critical lines of inquiry we want to pursue today. 2 points to that. Firstly, the parents' involvement. That was dealt with at the time. That was dealt with at the time by the original investigation by the Portuguese. So all the material, we're happy that's completely dealt with, and there's no reason whatsoever to reopen that or to start rumours that that's a line of investigation. The McCanns are parents of a missing girl who we're trying to get to the bottom of what happened. In terms of Andy using the word abduction, she wasn't old enough to make a decision to set off and start her own life. However she left that apartment, she's been abducted. It's not a 20-year-old who's gone missing, who maybe there's foul play, or maybe they've decided to start a new life. This is a young girl who's missing, and so there has to, at the heart of this, at least be an abduction. We've got no definitive evidence as to whether Madeleine is alive or dead, so we have to keep an open mind, and that's why we describe it as missing person inquiry. Whilst of course we understand why after this many years people will be pessimistic, but it's important we keep an open mind and treat it as a missing person inquiry. Our mission here is to do everything reasonable to provide an answer for Kate and Jerry McCann. I'd love to guarantee we will get to an answer. Sadly, investigations can never be 100% successful, but it's our job, and I've discussed it with them themselves, that we will do everything we can do reasonably to find an answer as to what's happened to Madeleine. And I know Pedro, the senior Portuguese colleague I work with in his team, we have a shared determination. If we can find an answer, that's what we're going to do. I so wish I could say that we will solve this. We solve more than 90% of serious cases here at Scotland Yard. I so wish I could say we could definitely solve it, but a small number of cases sadly don't get solved. What I've always said on this case, and I've said it to Kate and Jerry as well, we will do everything reasonably possible to try and find an answer. I hope that gets to an answer, but I just can't quite guarantee it. And as a professional police officer, and when you deal with families in awful situations, it always hurts that you can't guarantee success, but we'll do everything we reasonably can do to try and get there. So one of the lines of inquiry, one of the hypotheses we've got was, could this be a burglary gone wrong? Somebody's doing a burglary, panicked maybe by a waking child, and that's sort of what leads to Madeleine going missing. In my experience, if you try to apply cold rational logic of a normal person sat in their front room to what criminals do under pressure, you tend to make mistakes. So it was a sensible hypothesis. It's still not entirely ruled out, but there was also lots of material about people acting suspiciously, a potential history of some recent sort of thefts from holiday apartments. So working through that, it was a sensible thing to pursue, and we had some descriptions to work with, and that led to us identifying amongst the 600 a group of people who it was worth pursuing. Have they been involved in that sort of activity, and may they have some role in Madeleine going missing? That was what the hypothesis was. We did lots of searches. We worked with the Portuguese, they were spoken to, and we've pretty much closed off that group of people.